Hello, everyone. It's a pleasure and an honor for me to present some findings from our research in the field of marketing research. And we call it big data for big insights, implying that we are striving to derive results which are important for business practitioners. And today I would like to present you some hints towards what is possible to gain by mining text data, user-generated contents, in order to derive insights for marketing. You already introduced me, so this is a picture of my life. I don't tell anything about it, just get some impressions about myself here. Lots of different facilities, and I like stand-up paddling. This is something which you can see here. And our research program at my chair for marketing and innovation focuses on human decision-making. So yesterday as well as today, I was quite fascinated to see how artificial intelligence moves towards decision-making and how we can embed those tools in order to get improved decision-making, so to assist human decision-making. And so therefore, it's very nice in line to what we have been seeing here. What I'm going to talk today is how we can use text mining in order to assess services, especially hotel services, and what can be gained as insights for marketing practitioners. And I hope that those insights, which are very exemplary, might help you to think about what you can do for your own research or your own company in order to link user-generated contents with marketing insights. And I've got more or less 5 different sub-studies, and all of those studies are located not in Spain, but in China. Please forgive me, so the insights are more exemplary, but it might be of great usage for you in order to see what you could do with your own data or with data publicly available from user-generated contents. So first of all, I would like to show you that those data can be used in order to gain insights about overall service evaluations. Then I'm getting one step further, thinking about whether we can identify drivers of hotel satisfaction. And we go even further to think about how we can assess personal actions, interaction between humans and service encounters by those analysis, and of course concluding with performance analysis. So models of overall service evaluations, this was our first sample where we retrieved user-generated content. We were able to retrieve here a lot of more than 300,000 reviews where we knew about the ranking and satisfaction ratings. So this is something which you might have as well. You have service satisfaction ratings, and now you can think about what you can do in order to disentangle what is going on. What you see here is a chart relating how domestic tours and international tours are assessing the same hotels. So if international tourists would behave identically to domestic tourists, we would expect them to be all on one clear line. And clearly you can see there's a lot of correlation going on. And you can see as well that there's a deviation going on, and the deviation depends on the number of stars. So hotel stars, what you expect from a high-class hotel varies quite a lot from which country you are stemming from, which is quite important to know for hotel practitioners to see that they have difficulties to address the needs of different international clients in the same way. You don't have as much problems if you are in the low star ratings, but especially in the mid-star ratings, you can see that there's a lot of variation. And we've seen in the presentation before that this provides the possibility to come up with very new concepts as well. So market segmentation is still underutilized. Here you can see the hotels underlying this chart, so you can map yourself your own hotel as compared to some competitors. And those are all hotels in China, so please don't be astonished that you don't know them. Yeah, so the names might be known, but the locations for sure you won't be able to recognize. What we did is we tried to make a simple model to explain overall satisfactions by the satisfaction with different features of a hotel. And what is very important here is that those are not the single features which matter, it's more about interactions. So having a good room and having a good service is not something which I expect separately, but they are interacting. The same stuff is if you have a nice hotel lobby or a bar, yeah, you can forego a good room because people stay in the bar or in the restaurant. But whenever you have a bad room, yeah, then you should make sure that you have provide at least some amenities outside of the room. So therefore, if you model something like that, you really should go for interaction effects because they are very insightful in order to get insights about where to allocate resources. So we did some modeling here with some regression analysis. This is published, so you can read it in a journal article. And what is quite interesting, we mapped what consumers' expectations are depending on the nationality. So it's pretty evident. There are a lot of insights which ex post are pretty simple to see, like cleanness is of course of major relevance for Germans, but for Spanish people as well. This is quite interesting, yeah. And so the British people don't care as much about that. And so got insights about the relative relevance of consumers, and this is all based upon customer reviews. We're just analyzing user-generated contents in order to derive insights who is valuing which feature in which extent. And here you have a little bit more variation going on between Chinese and other Asian travelers. Yeah? So the Russian travelers, they are more value-oriented. The Chinese ones, they want nice rooms because they really honor the experience of being outside of their own home. Yeah, they expect something special inside of the room, whereas the Japanese are more service-oriented. Yeah? So this is quite important. If you get to know that by mining the data or the user-generated contents from your customers, you can profile your offerings much better. And you could think about allocating special rooms or special sections of the hotel to different customer segments. And of course, you should consider as well heterogeneity across different purposes of travel. So we separated here business travel, people who traveled with their partner or with their family, and leisure travelers being more the ones who are single travelers here. And what you can see here is there's quite a lot of differences, especially in terms of service. Yeah? Business travelers are not most interested in service. They just want to have something functioning. Yeah? Whereas the leisure travelers, they want to have something more special. So this can provide you very nice insights about where to focus on in order to improve your hotel quality. So that was the first study which we did in this field in order to see whether we are able to retrieve some insights by user-generated contents. And we went one step further and thought about mining those different words and word associations in order to see what are the drivers of hotel satisfaction. And so we looked into different features in different towns in China. And what we retrieved is it's a landscape, it's an associative network of what people relate to their service encounter. And then you can do some factor analysis, multidimensional scaling, and so on in order to map the customer experience as it is being reported by the customer itself. So, and in here, this is published as well. It's in a conference paper. You see on the left-hand side the experience map of customers, hotel customers being traveling to Beijing, and on the right-hand side traveling to Shanghai. And you would expect to observe something different, because in Beijing there's not as much tourist activities besides of the Forbidden City. It's more a political center, whereas Shanghai has a lot of shopping facilities and so on. And so you can see here on the right-hand side, Shanghai, I don't know whether you can see here, yeah, you see Shanghai, place, stay, and so on. So it's a town by itself which provides something good, whereas Beijing is not something special. You just happen to stay in Beijing, yeah? You don't care as much about it. And we use that in order to provide the hotel managers some insights about what they should stress, what people can expect while staying at their place in the different towns. So that shows you can not only assess what kind of dimensions are how relevant for consumers, but you can get in-depth insights about the relationship of different associations, of different features, and the relative relevance of those features. And we went one step further and looked whether user-generated contents can be as well used to assess personal actions. You have always service encounters in the hotel business, and it's quite interesting to see whether we are only able to retrieve functions like room quality or restaurant quality, or whether we are able to identify human service encounters. So we looked into personal actions, and this is another data set where we looked into how often are specific service personnel being mentioned by user-generated contents. So people most often report about their encounters with front office personnel, welcome personnel, or reception personnel. But they're talking about floor personnel, management personnel. And so it's quite interesting to see that those encounters vary across different levels of service ratings. So in a low service rating, the likelihood of having management personnel being mentioned is quite high. The same is true for a high quality rating, but in medium service quality ratings, you don't report about management, which makes sense. You either call for the manager if you experience something really bad, or if you have a special treatment need. And in both situations, management comes in as a problem solver, and therefore, what you can see here, it's showing you that those encounters are more extreme cases. Yeah? What you can see as well here, reception personnel is very important for low services, whereas you have much less mentioning of reception personnel in high service ratings, which shows that this is a hygienic factor. If the reception doesn't work, yeah, people are unhappy. If it works, no one reports about reception personnel. So you cannot outperform by having a very good reception personnel. You have to make sure that it's working, that's stable, but it's not something which distinguishes you from your competition. All those insights can be generated by user-generated contents. We went one step further and tried to derive job profiles for different service personnel. And we looked into sentences which consumers reported where they mentioned different service personnel, and looked what kind of action or what kind of objects were reported about. So one factor is pay, bill, deposit, inform, charge, claim, key, change, amount, refuse. So you easily can identify reception services which are reported in user-generated content. Yeah, you have other stuff like here, bag, suitcase, carry baggage, entrance, wedge, escort, luggage. So it's greeting and escorting services. So altogether, we were able to retrieve, to separate 6 factors: reception services, providing experiences, direction and destination services, greetings, language assistance, and tour and transport services. Having identified those factors, once again, we can zoom in and look into what is making a good reception service, or what are the words being mentioned for providing hotel experiences. And so you can see here, for example, on the left-hand side, reception service, it's about check-in time, check time, tell, call, minute, phone. So it's about communication at the encounter, which is one factor. But you have a different one. It's about credit, deposit, settle, bill. Yeah, it's a billing process, which is clearly identified. So you can identify sub-processes of consumer interactions, which you can use in order to design job profiles, to create some teaching for your staff and so on, in order to make sure that you provide a nice service encounter. So you can get insights about all those different activities which are happening in the consumer interactions. So you get very in-depth insights about what your people are really doing and how good they are doing that, without having to ask consumers, because they're writing it free of charge for you, yeah, in their own user-generated contents, which provides you very nice and in-depth pictures about what's going on in your stuff. Here in China, English speaking was quite a topic for those hotels. Yeah? So you can see here on the left-hand side, English is a large bubble, means it has been mentioned quite often in connection with the service personnel, and they always had problems to understand their English. And they speak only a little bit English. Yeah? So you really can see, yeah, you can retrieve the insights which user provide in a very nice manner. So it's, you can integrate those analysis in a dashboard where you as a manager can retrieve this information in real time in order to see how your service is performing inside your different hotels. Yeah, and then, of course, what might be of interest for you as a management practitioner is to say, okay, where should I focus on? So you could take this information and put it together into an importance performance analysis in order to see where should I focus on. And so this is a basic idea of this importance performance analysis. Most likely you know that it's a practitioner tool, yeah, saying, okay, how am I located? Do I am an underperformer or an overperformer? And is this feature of low or of high importance? Yeah? And of course, you should not be overperforming for something which is not important for customers, but you should make sure that you are not an underperformer in something which is of high importance for customers. So you use now the same information and just summarize it in those maps. And we did that here for hotels in Sanya, which is a tourist destination in China. And we compared different hotel chains in the low star category, medium star and high star category. And you can see that the relative competitive advantages differ across different hotel chains. And the insights here can be very direct to say, okay, this is great, yeah, if you're in this sector here, providing experiences is especially needed for medium and high-star hotels. Low-star hotels don't need to focus on that as much, yeah, because it's not as important for the customers. Yeah? So you really should consider, like our startup company was doing, just focusing on breakfast also might be great. Yeah? And you see something where you have some problems with reception here. So in China, if you have traveled to China, you know why people are always telling this is important and it doesn't work, because in China you always have trouble to communicate with reception personnel. It's really an important issue for the entire industry, which is a hassle for international tourists. Okay, so this is what can be done. What we are right now doing is we are doing branding analysis. We are comparing different hotel chains and what kind of associations are connected to the hotel chains. And this is a work in progress. You can see here there's a Western hotel here. Here's a Shangri-La, the Novotel, the Bretwan, Holiday Inn, Ibis. And this is a multidimensional scaling based on co-occurrences of different features. So what you can see is that more practical-oriented items like internet, reception, Wi-Fi, and window and so on are connected to Holiday Inn and Ibis or even Novotel, whereas in the Shangri-La it's about experience, about club, cafe, service, and so on. So you can derive competitive settings of your own hotel as compared to other hotel chains based on user-generated content. So the 4 studies which I was reporting on, 2 of them are already published, 2 are going to be published. Please contact me if you want to have more in-depth information. I wanted to keep the time and it was ringing already, so I would like to stop and thank you for your attention.